Yo, what it do? My name's Anyo. Today we're going to talk about monitors. What it do? On to more camera stuff. What are we talking about today? External monitors. There's many different variations, different many brands, features that it has, but water that down, it's just so that you can see shit better. Essentially, right? Some are 5-inch, some are 7-inch, some are overkill, like the iPad monitors. I've seen it used, but I'm like, why do you need that? I don't know. Anyways, essentially, what these monitors do is that so you can just see better. Let's say if you're outside, it's hella bright, and you don't want to look through your tiny monitor. Some have capabilities that are just literally just for brightness. I think some goes over 2000 nits and some are 1000, which is still great, but it's just kind of like how much work do you want to do to see the image. Some are just really bright that you can just see them no problem. Some are just like a little dim that you have to squint and just kind of like, a little sun hood kind of action. I mean, that's essentially what they do. Some cameras don't even have monitors. So let's say like a cinema camera like the Red Komodo, those kind of cameras, you need to buy an external monitor so that you can actually see what the camera is seeing. So in those cases, yeah, you definitely need a camera for that because how are you else gonna see? Cameras like this, like my DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, they usually have a small monitor that comes with it, which is great. So it's really up to you if you want one. And obviously, like let's say on set situations, people on set that need to see the image, like directors, clients, focus pullers, people like that would need an external monitor, whether that be over the shoulder, kind of looking over your shoulder, looking at the image, or wirelessly transmitted. And these monitors essentially have different features. That's why people even want to get these in the beginning. So in our cameras, it doesn't have things like false color or frame guidelines or focus peaking. I know some cameras now have that feature, focus peaking, but I will definitely say that I'm not a big fan of the Fujifilm's focus peaking because honestly can't see anything in that screen. I know I can frame and stuff, but when I'm like manually focusing, it's really difficult. Whenever I have, I'm working this on a job or something, I rely on my autofocus and then I would lock that instead of manually focusing on the focus ring. With my other camera like the Blackmagic, I don't even need to run a monitor on that because the screen on the back already of the Blackmagic is already like 5 inches or something. And the focus peaking on that is great. I know I just kind of blasted through those kind of features, but like false color is essentially a way to look at your image if it's underexposed or overexposed. So it's kind of like a histogram, and it's just pretty much how to see what your light levels are visually. And obviously, things like frame guidelines, everybody's on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I still like to shoot horizontal. And if people want me, deliverables of like that TikTok or that Instagram vertical aspect ratio, then I can put a frame guideline, which is just pretty much like a skinny rectangle to crop out that image. Because in all honesty, I know some people record, sideways, and that's great. But all the outputs for social media, anyways, is always going to be 1080. It's never going to go 4K. I mean, you can if you want, but I don't really care for that stuff. Again, this is just my opinion. This is just my workflow. I know people do that because the best quality, and might as well use all that wasted pixels on the left and right side of the screen. I get it, but I hate it. And one of the last things that you would want a monitor at the beginning is to have the capability of external recording. So reason why I used to actually have a Atomos Ninja V, which is dope because you can record ProRes, LT 422HU, whatever. And those are just kind of like different files that you can record your video on and have much more detail. And I used to have that, but I actually sold it a couple days ago just because, like, one, I don't really have use for it because my Blackmagic shoots RAW and also shoots ProRes. But of course, I'd rather just shoot RAW. And with my Fujifilm, this shoots ProRes internally, so I don't really have a use of the Shinobi, the Ninja. So I just kind of sold that, and I just kind of stuck with the Shinobi for monitor purposes. And because some people don't have these cameras, and they have, let's say, an older version. I feel like everything 2020 up have a better recording files. Some cameras would shoot like only at H.265, and for me, I hate that file because I can barely run it on my computer. So if it's, let's say my camera was only recording that, like I used to have the Canon R6, and it would only record to that kind of format, then maybe I'd buy kind of a reach, to be honest, but maybe I'd buy a Ninja V so that I can record ProRes and then have a better time editing compared to just shooting on 265 and then exporting proxies and whatever. That's a whole different workflow, which some people can handle, but for me, my time is. I'm not saying I'm super fucking busy or whatever, but I just want to do less in my computer the more that I can. As I mentioned, I used to have the Atomos Ninja V. In the beginning, that costed me about 800 Canadian with all the souped up stuff like the recording and the 1 terabyte memory card on it, the batteries and all that stuff around that ballpark. And I have this monitor, which is the Atomos Shinobi. Brand new, you can get it for $400. And the Portkeys one, you can get it 500 Canadian. And some monitors are even cheaper. I think you can find monitors that's under $200, under $300, which is great for budget filmmaking. If you don't have that kind of money, which is valid because this is a hard hobby to get, or profession to even get into, and really just try to focus on all your money and energy on it. Some monitors will do the job of just showing you the image, and some will have better features, whether that be like the sharpness, the color retention, you can name it. But for me, that's more of like the technical review shit, and I don't really do that. Like I said many times, these are just kind of my experience and what I think is important to even know, and why do you even need to get it. So for independent filmmakers and all that stuff, do you need one? Up to you. For cameras like the mirrorless cameras, the DSLRs that have flip out screens, not really, in my opinion. You can rely on your 3-inch monitor. It's not that bad. A lot of cameras have great autofocus now. It's just a lot easier to shoot solo. So do you need one? Not really. And also, you gotta think about, for me, again, portability. There's a lot of accessories that gotta pile up, like in here. Some people would need a top handle so that they can get this kind of action going on. So monitor, you also got to get this, right? And this is for me, I like this one because it's a quick release setup for the monitor, so that if I'm packing, I can just boop, take it off, put it in a bag. So thinking about how you want to set up your monitor to top handle to camera, or monitor to camera, you can get the hot or cold shoe. I forgot what this is, and then put that your monitor, or you can just get one of the 1/4 inch screw to 1/4 inch screw, kind of like articulating arm. So having this kind of setup here, boom, and then now you're gonna run. Okay, how am I gonna power this monitor? So now you're gonna put a battery, which is NPF, usually NPF batteries, and there's usually skinnier one than this so that it's lighter. But do you want to keep changing your batteries? Do you want to carry extra batteries? So once you put that on, okay, now it's locked on. Now you gotta get an HDMI cord so that you can get an HDMI cord, plug it in here so that you can plug it to your camera, and that's just a setup for your monitor. Now let's say you're trying to add a scratch audio, so like a shotgun mic. There's so many things to just add on. For me, especially since like I'm more of a hybrid shooter, I shoot photo and video together. I don't necessarily need an extra monitor. And also, thinking about, unless I have two cameras, which is even crazier. I did that for one job, that was awful. Let's say you're shooting video and then you want to switch to photo. Now you still have this setup with you, which is kind of ridiculous. So, sometimes just kind of setting up bare minimum, just your camera, one lens that's a zoom, or having multiple lenses. That's even better, right? But then you're gonna reduce your time on getting those moments again, just like a kind of event photography kind of thing. That's when it comes down to what are you using it for, right? And then also some monitors are just really slow to start up. So I'll try to demonstrate this real time. So batteries plugged in. I mean, this one turns on fairly fast. Let's see. So, it's on. It took a while. Damn. Versus the port keys, for example. So it's off. There you go. It's on. Especially like if you're on set, most of the time people even leave the camera on for the entire day. That's why people have V-mount batteries, extra batteries on set, so that they don't have to turn it off ever, so that the shoot keeps going and it's not no hiccups whatsoever, right? And then, for people like me, where I'm mostly just about portability and being light, but I really need all that extra battery, all that setup so that I can get the shots that I need. Not really. Really depends on what you want to use this kind of setup for. Do you even want a monitor? The four main things that's I really look for like a monitor and its features is focus peaking, false color, frame guidelines. I guess this is more like a 4.5 and 5, which is kind of like the LUTs and if it can record externally. I did like having the recording externally. Let's say if I run out of memory in my card, then I would use the external recorder. And even just having that kind of flexibility of shooting a different kind of format than just what your camera has. If you are looking for those kind of features, then maybe it's time to move into a monitor. Or if you're in a setting that requires a monitor, like again, the focus pullers, the clients and directors, maybe you definitely need that. But if you're just kind of like on your own doing your thing, then is it necessarily? I don't think you need to have a monitor unless to just kind of flex and then say that you have a monitor. But if you're willing to drop $500, some monitors are even exceeding 1,200, which is like the small HD monitors. And I've never had a chance to use any of them, but like I heard they're great. But to be honest, all these monitors is just so that you can see better, compose your image better, you can, focus better if it's a manual camera. But if you know your camera inside out, you know, you should be able to do that without that anyways. So, and also, lighting and all the other shit. So, but yeah, hopefully that kind of makes sense for this video. If you want to hear more camera shit, let me know. And also like, comment, subscribe. Peace.